So we've oiled the it's called oiled the bearing, oiled the con rod. We're going to oil the pin, gudgeon pin. Also, let me show you what I found. So as I showed you earlier, there's little cutaways here, so obviously it's changed its angle and just clattered it slightly, and it's just because these things are so brittle. Let's see the before and after. So before and after. Oh, miraculously fixed. So yeah, so this is the Polini, same as that one. So like for like, apparently the Polini are good for a bit of torque, you know, if you want to do torque. Cause to be honest with you, T5s, yeah, they're rev high, honestly, but you've got to keep it on song with the T5. They want to be revved. They want to be, you know, things are, if you're revving it all the time, obviously engine wear comes into place, and you know, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of either engine rebuilds or, you know, regular servicing. You know, to be honest with you, changing the gearbox oil every 2,000 miles is no big issue, is it? So, you know, change the spark plugs and, you know, just make sure everything's all hunky-dory. Piston rings as well, as T5s have chrome edged piston rings. I like to change them every year. And to be honest with you, the ball doesn't really wear out. It's a nickel thing, so it's, you know, it's not like a metal. It is metal, but it's, you know, they're actually sleeved, so they don't wear as easy as what it would be an iron ball, which is what PX are. However, this has a Polini top end, and this is an iron one. But looking at it, it looks fairly decent. So I'm not going to go boring it out or sizing up. It's alright as it is. Keep it standard. Standard is good in my book. Performance may get you there quicker. Then again, it may get you there in an air wagon as well. So, you know, performance isn't my choice. Standard is king, and it keeps it simple as well. Anyway, so as I said, these here, there's no ridge on the piston rings. So here's the piston rings here. So they're not, you know, when I say a ridge. So if you look at these are stuck together, that's handy. So if you look at the end of that there, this bit here, where we are, this bit here isn't an L shape, so it hasn't got like a top ridge. So they're both plain piston rings. So there's no top and there's no bottom. Okay. I have little cutaways here. So when you compress the ring, there is a little peg in the recess where the ring goes in. So a little peg there and a little peg there. Ideal for locating your piston rings as well, because obviously there has to be a certain way to make optimum compression as well. Alright, so that's a little thing there. Before you fit your piston rings, ideal, before you do anything else, just wade in with the old oil in the groove, so it has a little bit of, you know, lubricant there for when you fit it, and eventually it will find its own lubricant under running conditions, you know, unburnt two-stroke oil, because obviously it's mixed together with the petrol, and yeah, it's like a thin oil that keeps them lubricated. So that's that. Alright, so going back to this, so for those of you with a really short memory, that's oiled, which is the gudgeon pin and small end bearing. I forgot what that is, I said it before. It felt like a reverse chime, and I better find out what I meant. Gudgeon pin. One gudgeon pin. one piston. Now then, this is covered in chalk. I'm going to give that a bit of a wash. And guess what I'm going to use? You never guess. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. What have you guessed it? Unbelievable. GT85. Who'd have thought? So I'll get rid of all this chalkiness. Oh, that's that. That's there for. So whether the bags were stuck, for instance, in storage on the actual piston and people sort of peeling the bag up or something, or not, I don't know. So they covered it in chalk so it wouldn't sort of stick to the packaging. I don't know. But anyway, it just seems a bit overkill. So that's also as well, it's a good practice, isn't it, just to give it a bit of whack over. There might be a little bit of swarf in there or hard bit of grit that you can't see. That might cause a bit of grief in your cylinder and other things when it passes through. So remember, exhaust, don't do what I did many moons ago, which I keep getting reminded about. So what you need to do, get your first clip in. Also put that back down again there. The clip you can put in first, so bear in mind, arrow down, and the clip you want in really is the one nearest the clutch side. So the one that's here, you'll find out why we need to do this one first before anything else. Okay, right, so if I can do a bit of a close-up. So right, so arrow down, that's the clutch side. So now we've got that established, we can put that in. You'll see, just ease her in, don't rive it in, it will go in eventually. Well, sometimes it might go in sideways. That isn't good. So take it back out again and start again. So get it into the groove, as it were. You see, it's in the. I'm actually doing this on camera. I'm going to get my concentration tongue out. Yeah. Concentration tongue is out. And right, so that's not quite in, but it's almost there, right? So what you need to do is just a bit of an ease. Ease it. Okay. That might need a bit of donkey donking there. And sometimes, let's use an old one. Excuse me, I just burped then. That was horrible, wasn't it? Sometimes, actually use the new conrod from the other side, so you push that through there if it'll go, because yeah, so sometimes, yeah, that's a tight one. We may have to tease it out with a screwdriver. Let the screwdriver clean on my very clean overalls, and just a little bit of a tease with a screwdriver. Did you hear that? That's a reassuring click, isn't it? Ah, I shall sort that out later. So, as you can see, it's all the way home. There. All right. Oh my God! I've got a stop. I've got another seal, haven't I? Well. So that's it. So right. So arrow down again. I can't express this anymore. And the clip to the clutch side. So this here is a flywheel. On the other side of the crank is the clutch. So now we've got the beautiful thing of, so we've got the bearing in there already oiled up, conrod oiled up. You might want to oil this or you might not want to do. Just for thoroughness, I'm going to oil it up, but just a little dibby dab dab. Alright, make sure you've got clean hands, which they're not really that clean. But anyway, I'm satisfied with how clean they are. Right, so again, for the last time, our downstairs. Alright, so let's put this in here, just back this up a little bit. Do we have enough? We do not, so we need to find a thinner piece of wood so we can put that'll do, a stirring stick for paint. Might just do the job. Let's see. Will the stirring stick do the job? Let's put that there. Right. Okay. I said the last time. I'm going to mention it again. Alright. Downstairs. Alright. Right. Gudgeon pin. My, that's tight. So what we're going to do, finger in there and just try and, there we are, see that? So now we're through. Okay, just that first bit, sometimes there's a bit of moulding or something, it's not quite right, you know. Anyway, it's found its way through and it's quite groovy. I'm not gonna say. Right. So we're just gonna ease this little chappy chap through here. And for the first time ever, viewers, that has gone straight through and it's left enough room to put another clip in. That doesn't happen every day. You've seen something rather special today. So, doing what I did on the other side, on the clutch side, I'm going to do it on this side. However, it's so much easier doing it on this side because you've got something to work against. Yeah? Something to, you know, get your pliers into and just give it a bit of a nudge, and then eventually it'll just go and it'll sit in place, right? After you've done that, just to make sure the clip's in its recess, give it a bit of a tap with a screwdriver and a hammer. Not a lot though, just a little love tap, alright? Right. She's almost there. Alright, just a bit more. You'll hear a satisfying click in a minute. I think it's such a... no, not a yet though. Right. Let's try again. As does clip, you know, the pliers. Anyway, they will do the job. Okay. Come on, satisfying click. Work your magic. Right, so we're almost there. So what I'm doing is just use lots of noises, using using a little bit of a, you know, a tickle with a screwdriver. Don't go crazy with it, just ease it in. Okay, don't do that either, just don't do it, it just isn't worth it. Right, I have to do a wiggle there. Let's do a wiggle. Let's see if it'll move. you do? Move it. Or sometimes it might actually just come back out again because it doesn't want to go in. That's just a look at the drawer. Right, let's do this again. If you find it better, actually what you could do, you could put the engine on its side and then you could just go over the top of it. We're not going to do that today though. Because you're being awkward. That's right. Right, in you go. Yeah, crikey. Right, so that's stuck out again. I wonder. Right, come on. You didn't hear that, did you? Oh, did you? Did you? That was a satisfying click. So what you do, just move that. Sometimes you can tap them in, but if you just move them around and they stay in place, that means the clip's home, as the terminology is referred to. Do the same at the rear. That's home as well. Happy days. Right, so we need now to get the rings on. So clean these off first, just in case there's any horrible foreign bodies on it. And what I use in this instance, you ahead of me, what I use in this instance is, that's right, a bit of GT85. So there you go, that's that, see, there we are, nice and clean. Nice and clean. Right, move this out of the way. Yeah, you probably notice how disorganised I am. That's just me, unfortunately. Don't believe in organisation. It's a bit too orderly. Is that the word? Anyway, so the top tip is, you can also put these piston rings on before you start. It does actually kind of make sense, but you have a bit of a to do with the clips, and you're messing around with it. Sometimes you can break them whilst you're sort of fitting the piston. So making sure that you've got the piston in straight, your piston clips in, and everything fits in place. Ideal. This is fairly easy, to be honest with you. So, as mentioned earlier, we need a bit of splash. So, like that. Whilst that is running down the actual grooves, that gives you time to have a slurp. So that's them, right? That's slurp time. That's the only room you're allowed in this game. Waiting for piston grooves, right? Piston ring grooves to get soaked in oil. You have 15 seconds to have your brew, and that's it. Right. Should I be a bit closer for this one? This might go horribly wrong. We shall see. Moving your piston rings. I usually hang mine on here, so I know where they are, because my memory pretty piss poor. Okay, moving those things out of the way. Now you may have seen videos of people doing it with the fingers. This is not going to be any different. Can you see? There you are. Oh, look at that! What a fantastical view. Right. So I might just change the angle of the engine on. Let's put that to one side. There as well. Okay. What would be better? That angle? It's all about the angle of the dangle. Was it right? You can sort of see there, can't you? Right? Another top tip as well. Whilst you're arsing around with this, with a blue paper. I should remove those again. Put them somewhere clean, like on top of your dirty ratchet set, and then remove your stirrer. Okay. You may need that later on. Just put that to one side so you can see where it's at. And stuff the mouth. And a bit in the money, there's a lot of people you wouldn't mind stuffing the mouth of, wouldn't you? However, in this instance, it needs to be done to keep the innards free from flying objects. If if it's happens a piston ring, if a piston ring broke and went inside the engine case, and you have to take it all apart to find the engine, to find the piston ring or the part of piston ring. That's my neighbour. So, stuffing that in there. There we go. So yeah, just as I say, just in case something goes horribly wrong with the piston rings and one of them flies off, it's not going to go in there. It's going to fall back out again. All right. Full time. Okay. So piston rings. There we are. So now we've we've pre-oiled the piston. I'm going to lightly cover the piston rings with just a dim dab of oil that's on my fingers, so hopefully they'll seat just nicely. There we go. Right, so where's my stirrer? The stirrer's there, so I'll put that back over there. So we don't need it we just need it to stay still. Probably not that high actually. Probably need a bit something a bit more thinner so we can get the piston rings round. I'm not getting away with the studs. Thus. So we'll find something a bit more slender. What can we find that's slender? It's not bring that shirt. What do we have? Oh, that'll do nicely. What are the chances of that? An old Lambretta badge. It'll come in handy one day. So there. So that'll give you a bit better platform to do what you need to do with these bad boys. And as I say, there's no right and wrong way on these because these are just flat-sided piston rings, so there's no top and bottom or upside down or right way. They just go. They're all the same. So just on top, oh my god! Just on top of there, can you see? I don't know why I do that because I shouldn't really do that because that's not a very good impression, and either is it a decent impression? I don't know if you can see that there's some pegs there where the piston rings stop, and that's where you allocate the piston rings to get optimum compression. Okay. Let's just there you go. You can see better now, can't you? So, as you can see, I'm just doing that. And what I'm doing, just gently, just moving it. Do the furthest one first, because obviously if you do the first one, clicking in, you can't do the second one. So the one that's furthest away, do that one first. Face, do the face. Do that one first, and then do the one after that. So we need to find the other location pin. So that's naturally going into the first one, but we don't want that one. So we just need to tease her back out again to go into the second one. If she will. Will she or won't she? Okay, let's put that down there. It's quite fiddly. Especially with, it's not so bad if you've got an old piston, if you're still using the same piston rings that were in before, it's not so bad, but brand new ones, whoosh, oh boy, they can be quite stubborn. So, oops, what has happened here? Oops. Onto the gasket there. Okay. Did she move then? I think she did. So that's her int groove. Okay. So that's her in the second groove. The one furthest away from yourself. Okay. The one nearest the engine. That's the first one, okay. Buttering this up again. So, the second one is always easier. Piece of piss. Right, so these need to be located now. There you are. So, camera's there, obviously. How am I going to get this in shot? You can tell I'm not camera savvy, can't you? Anyway, so we need to steer these rings into the pegs. Okay. So there's, don't know if you can see that. So I'm just doing that one there. Let's see if you can see. I don't know how to do this really. Anyway, I'll put it down here because I'm going to be spending all my days trying to say it. Anyway, you've got to, the two ends of the piston rings need to go together. But they need to go together round about where the peg is in the actual groove. So the peg sits snug with the piston ring. Okay. And also, yeah, it tells you where the piston rings are supposed to be in relation to optimum compression. Alright, so that's that. So they're in place now. That's good. Another little tip now. So what we're going to do now, this is at its longest stroke now, the con rod and the actual crank. So we need to gingerly take this out and not bust the gasket, because it is kind of fragile. If it does go tee up, I've got a spare. I've always got spares. I'm always making some kind of crazy, stupid mistake, as we all do. Right, so that's that. So that's out. So what we need to do now, finger on your flywheel. Have I got my light on? No, I haven't. Finger on your flywheel and just wind it back. Okay. so it's not, so it's just there. All right, stirrer, put that in there for now, just to keep it somewhere near. Actually, probably better off using the badge. There's the badge. Let's put the badge on there. Okay, so that's near enough straight. Okay. Now then, next job is my barrel's over here, isn't it? This is the barrel. This is getting reused. Because it's in fair feckle, so it's good. I'm just gonna give it do you know what? I'm going to give it a wash. Bring a bit of a clean. And you guessed it. It's that. It's my old, yours and my old friend, GT85. There we go. It's in there. Now, this isn't the only thing you've got to do. You've got to do this, obviously, because it's been hanging around for quite a while, and I've had a bit of a horrible time doing this engine, actually, to be honest with you. So I thought, you know what? I also got a little bit further on. I thought I'd do a bit of a video. So this is what I'm doing. So anyway, right. So that's now clean. Make sure that the port, the exhaust port, there we are, is okay as well. There's no gumminess, nothing that's crawled in there and made its home. I mean, why would you? But you know, some things do. Right, so that's cleaned out, and now is the time to can have a bit more time. Now is the time to introduce to you the cylinder to the piston, and to be honest with you, it's very, very fiddly. So obviously if I had many hands, I would hold the iPad, undo the piston rings and put the barrel on as well. Sadly, I'm only human. I know it's hard to imagine, but I am. Alright, so I'm just going to swizzy wizzy that round. That's not a particularly great angle, is it? So I'm going to drop that again, so you can at least see. Yeah, that's probably better, isn't it? Let's just put a wedge it in there. Okay, that's it. Right, what I like to do as well, sometimes, and I think this is one of those sometimes, is my old friend, and just give it a bit of a de-gumming. So what I've done, you can't see it. So what I've done, GT85 has got all this crud and crap all over it. On the top side, that's where the cylinder head goes. So if we get that free of gunk, and if it starts gunking up again, you know that, you know, say for instance the cylinder is not sitting on it right, or a gasket is failed. If it's already gunked up, you're not really going to know, are you? So if it gets nice and clean, this stuff is, you know, it's not very abrasive, but it's just enough to clean. Yeah. Okay. So that's that face done, and the stuff that comes off this, really, you know, if it ends up inside the engine, it's not going to cause, you know, unrepairable damage. It's not. It's just, you know, it's like some sort of plastic based stuff, but slightly abrasive. It might just cause a little bit of scarring, but nothing more than that. It's not going to go all bouncing around and cause, you know, unrepairable damage, as I said earlier. So let's just see how clean this has come up. tell you what, honestly, GT85, a lot of people take the mickey out of us for loving GT85, but it's fantastic. And it's far less money than the other brand, but I think it's made by the same firm anyway, so I don't think they'll mind me saying. So, a bit more of a scrub. That's that. Fresh blue. Right. Okay, so inside the barrel, we're going to give it a last wipe out with some fresh blue. And then we're going to spoil all our work, our cleansing and our thoroughness with some dirty oil. So, right, as you can see, it's a barrel. It's been used, but to be honest with you, there's nothing greatly wrong with it. There's no step in the, where the piston travel ends. There's nothing like that. There's no scoring, so good barrel. So it can be reused. Moppy. Put those in the bin. So we will use them. We shouldn't do. Right. Okay. So we've all that. So as I said, we're doing a dry startup. So I'm not going to bond any of the gaskets or anything like that, because I need to find out if it's running okay, because I had such a nightmare doing this thing. It's been, shall we say, what people say, a journey. So I need to put it together, fire it up, see how it sounds, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, as I say, it's been hard. It's been the hardest engine I've done, and I've had a few dogs in my time, but this one is, let me run you through a little bit of the things that I found with it. Those of you who are savvy with these type of engines, they're if they have a catastrophic engine failure, say for instance something goes a little bit wrong, say for instance the clutch disintegrates, which I think is what the problem is with this one, or has been a problem with this one, and all the shrapnel has gone flying around the engine, and it's stopped the crank suddenly. So when the crank stops suddenly, when it's on full chat, normally these things happen. They don't happen on tick over. They don't happen just going around town at 30 miles an hour. It's usually when it's on full chat. So you're doing like 65, 70 miles, 70, maybe 70 miles an hour. But you're going at full hog, and these things just go bang. And when they go bang, it's a bit of a scary moment, a bit of a brown moment. So, as with this one, it's had a brown moment, as I call it, and it's caused a bit of stress on the actual main casing, where the bearings go through, where the crank goes through, where there's fundamental things that attach to the crank, and two of the things that are fundamentally that attached to either end of the crank is the actual flywheel and the clutch. So, the flywheel doesn't just do the piston upside, up down thing. It also has other ancillaries on it as well. So I think this one had a bit of an incident. So the reason why I'm saying is it's got welding integral into the casing round about where the bearings are, the main bearing for the clutch. And if you're going to do any welding on cases and that, if it's a small weld, then it's fine. However, this weld was probably about 80mm long, right around where the circumference of the bearing is. So when you weld things, characteristics of the materials do change, and either things become brittle, or they get distorted, or things go out of line. And I think the things out of line is very much the case with this engine casing. So I've had a bit of a nightmare. So anyway, with that moan out of the way, we shall carry on. So, exhaust. Can you see? Can you see? Little arrow, can you see him there? Yeah, right. So that's exhaust. So that's pointing the right way because this is the way the exhaust is. Okay. Right. So So the next thing is the re-dirting it up, which is, I'm sure some of you will find probably quite satisfying. So, where are you at? Can I display? It's time for... okay. And then, not that you would use this action in... Anyway, so you've got to do that, turn her over, and do this. And there's the reason why you've got to clean this, because obviously you're manhandling it a lot, if you know what I mean. So, there we go. Good. Goodbye. So, we're going to get this little berry on here now. So, just put that on there and let her rest on the studs. If I remove my hand, you can just see Percy Piston just peering through the hole, wanting to get in. Alright, so we've got a posizione. Okay. We're going to wiggle that piston. I wish I could show you a different angle. Maybe another one I do in the very near future, which it probably will be, because if you're on a Vespa, you do quite a lot of stuff on engines and electrics and frames, and yeah, high maintenance but most enjoyable when they're working right. Okay, so I'll try and, what's the word for it, try and talk you through it. So as you can see, Percy's just there, and we're just gonna wiggle Percy in. So we've got remembering again the piston rings and where the pegs are for the piston rings, they've got to be bang on. Alright, so, and then we're just going to push the piston rings in, or the piston ring, because we're doing the first piston ring, and we're just going to ease the barrel onto it, using many fingers and sheer talent. So, are you enjoying the music, by the way? It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway. Right, ooh, so that was nearly home, but then it sprung back. Well, this is the thing you've got to expect. And now it's just jumped out the location pin, so we need to back that off a little bit. Reposition the ring, compress, using many fingers. Okay, and then we've got to do that one. Okay, so is that home? Alright. This is a lot of guessing going on here. Right, I think they're home. So we can take the badge away. A little bit bent now. Not just a decorative item, also a tool. Right, so that's come back in the box. And then, let's push it home. Let's see if it'll nicely go in. Okay. Right, so it's hit something there. Do you hear that clunk? We've got to investigate what that is, because this is quite a crucial moment. Had it just... It's just hit the gasket, so if you drive it in without investigating what little noises are, you may bust the base gasket. And the base gasket, you know, I mean, it's not a lot of money, it's probably about £3. But if that's the only gasket you got on the day, and it's a Sunday as it is today, you're not going to get another gasket. So, by Jingo. So now we've got all this lubrication. When you fire it up for the first time, when you've got all that lubrication knocking around everywhere, it's going to smoke a bit. So preferably do it outside if you can. Top tip. Right, with that top tip and the piston in place. Cold brew. Now, I thought I had a spare spark plug. I ordered a spare spark plug and I can't find it. So I'm going to use the original spark plug for now, just for testing. But nice screws. Yeah, but the original we can use, it was running before, so we can definitely say that was fine. So we'll use the original and clean it up. We need the cylinder head now. And yes, you're right, this cylinder head does have a right way and a wrong way of being put on. Now then, there should be a little recess there. There. That normally, this doesn't have it though, with it being an aftermarket barrel. It has a little, what's the word for it? Like an extra sleeve on there, so you know where it's supposed to be, or where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to revert to a manual and show you exactly what I mean. This is a rare occurrence using a manual. So it's that rare. I've forgotten where I bought them. Right, here we go. Vespa one there. Right, okay. Is that Vespa T5? No, that's older. Bear with me. Right. Those of you may be familiar with that. You see them on eBay. So let's see if the PX is featured here with the allocation of where to put your head. Let's have a look. Let's see if there's a picture. And where would they normally be? I can't remember offhand. I've just worked with standard stuff. I'm not really worked with performance parts before, if you can call it performance. Ooh. Let's have there must be a diagram. And I can't remember where the actual thing was. Right, I'll tell you one way we can find out. Right, it's a bit of a cheat really. Down here is round about where the exhaust is. So this is obviously pointing down, and as I thought, the one with the little cutout here goes to the left top. Oops, left top there. So that's a bit of a sort of telltale side that that's the way it should go. So right, so I need to clean this little bit out here, and yes, you guessed it, my friend and your friend, GT85, Shamon. Right, so you can't see, but I'm scrubbing furiously on here. Okay, I'm going to take the plug out later on. There's no point taking it out just at the moment because it's a nice doing so. So see how well that stuff cleans. It's real good. Fantastic. Okay. Right. Bin. Don't use it again. Okay. So get all the mess and crap and duty. Get the duty out. So let's say it's got a little bit of recess in the hue. The other ones are just blind holes. That one's been recessed. So this one to the top left, and bear in mind this doesn't have a gasket on this. It's just face to face. Okay. Right, I need to find. Oh, there's my other little end bearing. I found it now. Right. Whereabouts is the bolt heads? I didn't see them earlier. There we are. So this is the nuts that go on the head, on the head stand. A little top tip for you. Now that's for the cowl. So when the cowl goes over the top, that holds it in place. Don't need that just at the moment, but that cowl sort of screws into that. So this one, the long bolt, the long nut even, goes in the top corner there, I think. Bear with. I'm sure it does. I should find out later on. But yeah, or does it go here? Let's refer to the book as you're supposed to do, see where it is. I'd imagine the PX will be the same, it's just the same configuration. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Start the engine. Oh yes. Right. I'm talking to myself now, so just bear with me. There must be a shot of the cowl. There's not. How useless is that? So anyway, I shall show you. I may have some photographs of it anyway on my phone, but I'll show you on a diagram whereabouts this horrible weld was at. It looked like a fairly neat weld. Anyway, on this black and white photograph here, not that one, this one here, round about there, where I'm pointing at now, was completely welded from there out down there. So that tells me there's been a sudden stop, and it's fractured that bearing housing, which is the clutch side main bearing. So that's a biggie. So I've been trying to patch it up ever since. I'm trying to make sense of why it's not doing as normal engines are doing. So anyway, oh yeah, top tip. Allow me to tell you what my top tip is. Top tips. Top tips. Right. You're going to need a flat-headed screwdriver, one flat-headed screwdriver, and then you're going to need, let's have a look, can I find it? Then you're going to need, no, I can't find it. Where's it? Oh, there we are. And then you're going to need one of these, and these are bloody good. So what it is, it's an aerial with a pen top sleeve thing, so it can impress your friends in the pub, if you'd like to go in the pub. So what it does, right, magnet, that's stainless steel, toss. There. So, but what you need for this job is, why has it got stainless steel nuts? Anyway, so you need a quite a long flat-headed screwdriver. Okay. So what I usually do, get the smallest one you can find. That's about 4mm magnum. Right. Sleeve that on. Sleevey. Well, we only got 3 washers. Oh, we haven't. We've got 4. I obviously can't count. So we've got all those in there. And then attach the stud. Yeah. So you can see that there, just. And just T's are on. I'm going to need a thinner screwdriver, aren't I? Have I got a thinner screwdriver? Oh, there we go. Right, thinner screwdriver is going to make a better job of that. So, just, yeah, so, getting that in there, and then try and get away, and that's not gone on. It's not, what's the word for it? You're not guaranteed it, are you? Probably better doing it that way then. 2 flat-headed screwdrivers, bish bash bosh. And it isn't so magnetic though, so I might just use, that's really fiddly, isn't it? Let's use that one. Just to go down there. I think I've just magnetised everything at the moment. Okay, just put that down there, and then that sheet's on. There we are. So that's that. Don't buy yourself a magnifying, a magnet aerial thingy. Just use 2 flat-headed screwdrivers. That's the way to do it. Or you could use, a bit of grease and end of your screwdriver. That will give it enough tack to get it into place. That's her. And where are we at with the other one? So you get the idea. You're intelligent, you are, aren't you? Right, so bish bash bosh. I'm going to use a bit of lightage on this. There we are. You can see what I'm doing now. And a head torch is really useful. Right, so now, I think these are 13mm, if my memory serves me correct. So, get a 13mm. Just use one of these for just offering it up, okay? Quite a shallow thing. So there's not There's a bit to go out there, but there's just enough to get you started. So let's get this party started. And that. Right, so first one going in. Let's, what can we use for that? Won't fall there, haven't we? Right, so first one going in. So just hand tighten these bad boys up. Bearing in mind, that's the big boy there, I think. I'll be proved wrong later. And off the cowl. Right, so we're just offering them up. Nice and even. Nice and crisp and even. Yeah, a bit of Christmas there for you. Right. Wet. Wow, that's cold. Big boy. Going in. Going in. Right. So then, I don't know how many of you had a puncture in your car, and when you replaced it, the pattern you follow whilst tightening your nuts up on your wheel is paramount here as well. So same idea. Okay. That there. Yeah. That there. I'll just always do it in a weird khaki-handed way. In there. Right, with this little badgie, it has a little end where you can put your little ratchet on. And I'm going to do that right now. Just to give it a nipple. We're not going to go crazy with it because this is a dry rub. Don't want that bit on the ratchet bit. Okay, so voila, voila, voila. Oh, need a bit more on that one. That's obviously got a bit of a third thread on it, so it seemed warm before it was. Okay, so let's just there we go. So that is quite literally all you need. Just a and then that one. And round again because everything's settled down. So this is the last one. So a bit of a tweak. And again. I think I've got a spinning stud on that one, so we need to have a look at that one. Right. And here, end of this stage. Happy days.